meeting Wednesday?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping it on. I don't know if you have to be.
So excited about the
That's a lot of fun. Yeah, I'll bring pictures.
So we don't have to be there.
It's just a matter of how to pass that information on to the select board. Take care. Combined meeting with. Yeah. This is a busy night for me.
I'm leaving slowly.
That's right, nobody's here for you to see yet.
Rush on luck, you know.
Okay, that's real quick.
I don't know what anything to the council.
No, you've already. Two of us now.
Call you.
Yeah, or send me out.
Yeah.
I will not be here for the next call.
Okay.
Okay. Al called me this morning and said he's gonna try and make it.
Okay. I thought Laura can't.
Laura can't. You sure have a hard time getting a quorum.
And so, everything I emailed you guys.
Thank you.
Well, I printed out most of it.
Oh, you did? I was gonna say, just save your paper, right? Take care.
No, that isn't.
Didn't print that.
Do you have documentation that is going to be handed out this evening? And do you have two more?
Do you guys mind sharing just until if I have extras, I'll give you more, but I just want to make sure I have enough for the ORC.
Here comes Al. I'll just wave to somebody. Next meeting,
The 25th, I think it is. Going down to the cherry blossom.
Oh, cool.
No, I'm visiting my son.
Okay. Sure. Awesome. Perfect. So.
25th.
I don't think I look like Terry, but I'll take the seat.
there are no changes. I thought I was getting everything printed.
No.
Hi.
I didn't see.
There was one time when we went for.
So there's.
Last we voted for the, RV. So, yeah. No, sorry.
Dennis said he started that.
All right. Quorum being present, I'm going to call the March 11th meeting of the Ordinance Review Committee to order. And the first order of business is the approval of the minutes of February 26th. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, is there a second? Okay, there's a second now. There was a vote. Laura didn't abstain. It was not unanimous.
Here's the RV ordinances to move them to the
So to
planning
go
board.
on to the public hearing.
I thought we changed that, wasn't the word vote Senate to select board. It's 401, 301.
Yeah.
And it's watch what's happening. All right. Real business tonight is research and discussion on firearm discharge ordinance.
I'm slightly. I was at the February 20th, 2024 Wiscasset Select Board meeting.
Yeah.
They had a request submitted by a resident to look at the creation of a firearm discharge ordinance. There was comments both for and against at the February 20th Select Board meeting. And the Select Board, as far as I understand it, from sitting in the audience, has requested us to do some research on what other municipalities have done and look into it, provide feedback to the Select Board on our findings, as well as recommendations on whether to proceed, and if we suggest they do proceed, suggestions on how we proceed. Because there's a little bit of attention that needs to be paid to existing Maine laws with firearms and hunters. And so we want to be careful that that is not being, that any ordinance we draft is in direct conflict with that. So what I started to do in advance of tonight's meeting is look at other municipalities that have discharge ordinances. I have not studied these in great detail just yet, because I wanted to get them off to you to see if, you know, what your thoughts were. But I was able to pull first the correspondence that was submitted by Wiscasset residents as part of the February 20th Select Board meeting packet. I also pulled a copy of the Maine Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife Summary of Maine Hunting Laws for 2023 and 2024. I also pulled a copy of the 2023-2024 Maine Hunting Quick Reference Guide, which is also published by the Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife. And then as far as ordinance copies, I pulled Gardner, Maine's, which is restricting the discharge of firearms ordinance and corresponding restriction area location map. The City of Bath's public safety ordinance, which also has firearm discharge requirements within it. The Town of Booth Bay Harbors, the Town of Booth Bay's administrative ordinance, which includes a firearm ordinance, as well as the Town of Brunswick weapons ordinance, which has section 17.4, discharge of firearms prohibited in certain portion of towns. So I can keep doing digging, but I thought I'd start with those that are within a general geographical region close to us. And then I would also suggest that at a future meeting, we invite a representative from the Maine Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife who did attend the February 20th Select Board meeting provide some guidance as well. And Dennis was able to send me his phone number so I can reach out to him should you like that suggestion and want to meet him, invite him to a future meeting.
Also, there on this sheet.
Yes.
Well, I read well once you went to, as far as procedure, they basically seem to specify it as an where you can't discharge a firearm. Some of them more detail on what a firearm is, and others are just leave it at that. So that actually there are things I could discharge in some towns that may be illegal, but legal in another town. What was it? An air rifle. I mean, they made air rifles that go to 45 caliber, so.
A slingshot was kind of unreasonable.
Huh?
A slingshot's kind of unreasonable.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that, even though I've seen some YouTube, I've seen some, I have kids like we had, but some pretty powerful bands and rifle configurations.
I like Gardner's. I love the little map that they had. It just showed where you can't do whatever you already said you can't do, but it was a good map, I thought. Very plain to see, very clear to see what they're doing.
There was, as part of the materials that were submitted for the February 20th meeting of the select board, submitted by Wiscasset residents, Leslie Roberts, who is a resident of the downtown, did submit. She drew just kind of an area to consider. So you can see it, it's this map in the packet, the color map. There was some discussion at the select board meeting that the area here, so north, by the sewage treatment plant and northward, is probably not applicable because there's already laws and state statutes that are relative to how far of a distance you need to be from municipal properties and schools. And with the school up there, it kind of automatically takes out this area. I want to look at it a little bit further because that was, just a discussion during the meeting, but there is that potential. So I think we'd be more looking at the area down here by White's Island and then the Cove.
Was anyone able to find any information on how populated the wildlife is there at any one time?
I haven't looked into that part yet. I was able to pull, because I think there was some discussion about, how often people would be able to hunt down there. And so that's why I pulled the Maine Hunting Quick Reference Guide, because it does give information about seasons and when you're actually allowed to hunt.
The wildlife varies from time to, different times of the year, drastically what you see around there.
Okay, I don't spend that much time there. I haven't seen anything. I don't have any idea.
I kind of live almost adjacent to that area. I see big changes in different times of the year.
A lot of geese.
A lot of Canadian geese, a lot of different water wildfowl, and last year tons of turkeys. This year I haven't seen any yet. I'm sure over the next week or two we're going to see wild turkeys everywhere again. A lot of deer in the area. Seen a bear once.
Oh, I had a bobcat in my yard a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Seen a moose several times.
Well, I was looking at Woolwich and Dresden to see what they had, and they don't have an ordinance, but they do have, for land use, they have wildlife management, and that's done in all the districts that they have. Both are labeled that way in the land use chart. That wildlife management is okay to do.
As an activity.
As an activity.
I know that's what I'm asking, as an activity. I haven't looked into that either. But sounds like, for instance, you have a game farm. If you have nothing in it.
Yeah.
Maine is fairly lucky, and then we don't. We hunt on private land a lot versus other states where it's not a lot. Yeah, that'll be annual fee.
What do you want from us at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the word was reflected. The way to go would be just, I think, just, yeah. I think auto code with some people that don't like auto code. As much as we need to describe it. In case it's because Castle Tucker is not a dwelling. I mean, okay, it's a dwelling, but nobody lives in it, and it's already 100 yards back from the water, so. Sure. And some of the animals you mentioned there, I don't think we were asked to deal with those. We were basically talking about waterfowl hunting is what I heard, I thought. And I want people to be safe, but same token, if the state says 100 yards is safe.
Get specific, description of the hunting that's able to be done, like, well, one of them I saw smooth bore shotgun, which was okay. But that was the only thing they was allowed to use.
I think was that Steve Bath? There was one of them that talked about it.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a couple of them that talked
That is very common, a shotgun. Generally, because a shotgun, not firing a shot is not that dangerous past 100 yards. It's not, wouldn't hurt, but it's not that dangerous.
As dangerous.
Not as dangerous.
And that'd be the kind of weapon they would use for fowl hunting, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Shotguns?
yeah. Any waterfowl hunting has to be with a shotgun.
Excuse me, may I interject here?
Certainly.
I'm Michael Shepsky and I live on Pleasant Street. So I'm just about 8 houses from the cove where the shooting has been occurring. So it's a great concern to me what's happening here. And I don't know everyone's name here at the panel. Would you mind just introducing yourselves?
I'm Terry Hallett.
So you went through the sex change?
Yes. No.
My name's Don.
Big Al.
You're Big Al?
Emily Raby with the Lincoln County Regional Planning Commission, and I serve as town planner.
Thanks.
Carl Wilson, chair.
Jackie Bowe, I'm secretary.
And Don Oyster, I'm just a resident.
But a good resident, I'm
A
sure.
resident member.
Okay. So one of my concerns is that I have seen the hunters, I've heard the shots, and they're in the cove area that's at the base of Castle Tucker, that small little water area. And in that area, my neighbors walk around with their kids, with their pets, and it can be at different times of the day, but they've been there early in the morning as well. And to me, it's just too close to where people are living for there to be any type of shooting going on. Just waiting for an accident to happen. So I know my neighbors are concerned about this, I'm concerned about this, and there seemed to be a rub at the last select board meeting that any type of new ordinance was infringing on the hunter's right to shoot in that area. To me, it's not about that, it's about public safety. And that's what Chief Hazelstein spoke about when he was at the select board meeting. And I think I'd really like to see the town keep that in mind. It's about public safety.
Go ahead.
I'm Karen Sullivan. I live in Wiscasset, and I'm reading sort of the way things are worded. I don't know what this is. Gardeners. No person shall discharge a firearm within 400 feet of a dwelling, structure, or place of business or assembly. Now, I know that little road to White's Island, which it doesn't connect to White's Island anymore, but there are people that park there all the time, sometimes to walk their dogs, sometimes to just walk around the village. So I don't know what the definition of place of assembly is, but that, in my mind, because I walk the dog around there all the time. would qualify as a place of assembly because, and that's, you know, if you're shooting a waterfowl, there's water on each side of that little road. So you're shooting across a roadway or a place of assembly.
That's illegal. It's already illegal to shoot across the roadway, and that is a road to wherever the water decides to claim it to be the end, that it's a road still.
But it's also, I mean, to me, it's a place of assembly because people use it to park.
You can't shoot across it and you can't shoot from it.
But can you shoot within 400 feet of it? I think it's a place of assembly.
But
So I mean, how far is the cove across at that point?
All the way, it's, say along the trestle, 1,000 feet. I don't know without calling.
So if you had 400 feet, you would restrict quite a bit of that Pottle Cove area if you.
It would eat into it. But then you're getting down to somebody in some sort of law enforcement capacity has to make a decision. You're $399, not $400.
Almost have
I
to
would
put a
want
stake
that
in the
case.
ground.
Pardon?
Have to put a stake in the ground.
In the water. And anything, not good.
Or whatever we do, I think we need a map showing it, because nobody knows, I can't tell you where 100 feet is from here, 500 feet.
About 50 feet with that wall.
Okay,
Football field's 100 yards. Pardon? Football field's 100 yards.
oh, well, that's.
Look at all the guys who go we go to the high school, and say that's 100 yards.
No, but I mean, if you do have a map, you can see, well, I can't do anything on this side of Water Street.
And I did a version very quick on, I tried to measure the state was 150 yards. And because of a residence, and because there aren't that many residences down there, it can impact the code part of it all.
I think that'd be easy enough to identify how close the houses are.
Oh, yeah, I can do, I'm just saying that under the state law, they didn't really restrict the code that much, and it's still, they supposedly valid hunting place.
I wonder how often the geese, if they're not hunted in there, if they're not driven away, how long would it be for the geese to up in somebody's yard? And doing destructive things to the yard.
That is
Which
another
may have to
problem.
be an issue down the road too.
Yeah. And that is a valid point, because I've seen many places where that isn't one.
I have too.
But if the town has to go, I think the way is straight. I said I can look the map, but I don't think it has to be done on the other side. It's just in here, school, or just take that area out.
Well, on the garden map, it takes in everything, so that would take in the whole, from the school all the way down, wouldn't only show the area like that.
Technically, once you get into a village area, that all the residents yard, doesn't mean you can't have anywhere.
Right, that's what that map shows. Do you have the gardener one?
Yeah, it's in here.
Oh.
And the way annoying about that is across this tax map line. I don't want to be the one that says, I'm on house property with permission, but I'm on the wrong side of the line shown on a map that isn't back to you.
That was just easier than looking at the map from down by the school, from down by the.
Oh,
Because.
I mean, we certainly could write it this, just overkill of redundancy to say you can't discharge. Village H2.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
They don't, we have to cover it too.
Yeah. I don't know, it just seemed like that was really.
That might be easier too. If you're talking about safety, not hunting.
I'm sorry, Carl, I couldn't hear you. Would you mind restating that?
The prime concern really is just over general public safety versus safety from with hunting, coexisting with hunting. Then a ban by districts, say all of Village 1, Village 2, I'd have to have a map out. Downtown Village, whatever it's called, Village Shorefront, yeah, a bunch of them. Probably take it all the way around to Stations property, because it's all zone. You just can't discharge a firearm, doesn't have nothing to do with hunting. You can't discharge a firearm in that range. Personally, I want an exception in there for my own personal range within my code.
We work with permission of the town manager. I saw that was in Booth Bay, I think, that they allowed it if you had permission from the town.
I remember that. Oh, wow, then I should look back out.
Just taking an observation.
I just wonder if you're gonna run into the issue with the law that was passed back in the 1600s about, regulating fishing, fouling, and navigating and being a title zone. Is this going to apply or not? And I can tell you, MMA and the town's attorneys have both said, we don't know because nobody's ever challenged it before. So
I would say that would be a good court challenge that you could do that. That once you step below the high water mark, it's the colonial ordinance that applies. I have a right to go fouling. Period. End of statement.
What is the law?
Oh, it's from the set of ordinances in the 1620s. Basically, you have a right to fish, foul, and navigate between the high water and the low water. Now that's been tried to be used for like the beach cases in southern Maine, when they said no, never included going to the beach and swimming and sunbathing. If you're on that beach and you have a casting rod with you, just have to sit in a chair and enjoy the sun.
they were the cooler and
With it,
I'm wondering if that's why there are certain municipalities that allow only shotgun discharge, because you're, the public safety, right, it's allowed for water fouling, so you can still hunt effectively. But the impact of public safety is lessened because the range of the bird shot exploding, you're much less likely to have a severe injury if you were to get pinged by it, and it's not gonna go more than 100 yards.
I don't know what the distance is for the shot. How far does shot go out of the shot?
Depends on what you're shooting.
Yeah,
A 10 gauge 4-inch Magnum. I would like to be more than 100 yards. On the other hand, I wouldn't think I was going to get seriously injured, just hurt.
Right.
410 with man, you wouldn't hunt a duck with 410 if it would have shot in it. 410 is good for a snake, like 6 feet. That's a lot of people in the West that carry a handgun for snake are shooting 410s out of the barrel. That's what I can shoot a shot shell.
May I interject again, please?
Yes,
Emily, from the research that you've done, do you have a consensus of information and facts that you think would be applicable to the issue and the location here in Wiscasset?
I haven't created a draft ordinance to take all of these examples and formulate it into something that would be applicable to Wiscasset, because that wasn't the directive from the select board at this time. The ones I picked are close, I picked because of geography. They're municipalities close by that are also, coastal communities that have, these restrictions. Each one, I think Carl kind of explained at the top of the meeting, is different for different reasons. Some go into a significant amount of detail, including, very detailed definitions. And then there are others that are more of just a blanket statement. So I think that there is language that could be crafted, but it's a matter of the ORC, to start formulating that. I'm not a voting member of the Ordinance Review Committee. I work on behalf of them to do this research, but it's ultimately for them to come up with a recommendation and bring it back to the select board. And there's opportunities along the way for public input. So, attending these ORC meetings, anything that we take back to the select board, in terms of recommendations, there'll be an opportunity for public comment as we draft an ordinance and it goes to a public hearing. There'll be opportunity there, and then ultimately it would need to be voted on by residents at town meeting.
You're at step one of many, many steps.
That's what it sounds like and feels like. I would hate to see, though, that these steps disappear.
They have. If the select board decides they just don't want to touch this, they won't give us any further directions. It seems if the object is to in some way control hunting in especially Powell Cove, that's one thing. If you're fire and discharge, period, that's another whole story. And you might go do the same thing, but
What do we want to do?
I'm not sure what we're supposed to report back. I mean,
I would say let's just report back that make up a matrix of the towns that have ordinances and towns that just state something in the land use chart that it's pretty much wide open in all districts. This is the things that we found. And then let them decide.
Ask them for further direction.
Yeah.
Where do they want us to make up an actual ordinance? Predicated on the local area, town governments.
And how defined would they want that? I mean, they want it right down to the size of the gun to use or not use. Are they allowed to use slingshots?
you can't use slingshot. If you're hunting for waterfowl, you can't use a slingshot. And you can't say use a 22 for a duck. I'd have to ask a game warden if I can go to the shore and shoot a tin can floating in the water with my 22.
Oh, okay.
Can you?
That's travel too far.
When I was much younger, but times have changed in 50 years. 60 years.
And I didn't want to correct you and said 50.
Well,
I said quietly back on that conversation.
Up there. Yeah. I mean, obviously, what I got out of this general rule, if you're banning discharge, then the detail on like what is the firearm and what constitutes discharge are much more stated than if you're trying to keep people from hunting in a particular area. And we're going to, no matter where we go, I mean, if we go anywhere, there will be resistance.
Yeah, sure.
But it's really, what do they want? Those are,
Yeah, you have to understand that most of the other time, the ORC is told, we need you to develop an ordinance on to do something. We might have to ask a clarification of for or against this. I mean, we try to prevent it or encourage it, but or just regulate it. That has happened. But we've never had to go with sort of like, we're not sure what it is you want here.
No.
And I don't.
This is a research. This is where we can go.
And I don't know that they're at the point where, right, I don't know that they know what they want to do. So that's why they picked it to us to at least do some preliminary research and come back to them with our findings as well as what we think was the wording used at the February 20th meeting.
But if you're not familiar, the ordinance review works only at the direction of the select board. We don't self-initiate anything. So if somebody is asking us, well, why aren't you going to talk to the select board? They're the ones who give us direction.
But I think we should ask them specific questions that they can answer that will give us our direction.
Well, I think our general thing is we need more direction. There's
Right. But I don't know if
a
they
matrix of data that we can give them. I don't think we need to spend too much time creating a whole long list. But
with them.
more generalizations on if you're trying to ban the discharge, then you probably wanna do it by zones, I would imagine, by zoning.
Versus hunting.
And hunting would be more of a, yeah, you know, discharge within. And again, I have no idea if we banned hunting in, say, Powell Cove. Somebody floated in there in a duck boat, which is a shallow draft, down the shallow draft vessel, so should be able to make it in there on certain tides.
Mhm.
They're shooting from that, and they're 150 feet from a residence, and not shooting at the residence, or in any way endangering known public. Those hunters are supposed to know their target and behind their target. And Public Maine has a pretty good record these days of not a whole lot of hunting accidents. I shot a lady out putting up her laundry while wearing white gloves.
Yeah.
20
That's
years.
still grass.
Yes.
So, speaking of Powell Cove and hunting in Powell Cove, you seem to think that just in terms of the mechanics of the process, to do a firearms discharge by zone would be simpler, because it's not necessarily about hunting, it's about just public safety in these zones.
Right.
So if you did that, firearms discharge ban in zones 1, 2, shorefront, village 1, 2, whatever, does that include the code, or does that just include
my zoning map? And
just the land?
Okay, but one of our minuscule maps, but I usually use 4%, increase in size, so look at it. So, zoning map. Sure. 1, 2, 3, signs, zone. Okay, it's not the first thing on there. Not the first one, it's not the last one. Powell Cove is rural, a lot of it.
So the zoning wouldn't matter, is what we're saying.
So that wouldn't work. We would have to do it by area.
So the other question is, if the town does, I've heard talk about it periodically, develop White's Island as a recreational spot, which would be considered a place of assembly.
Probably.
How would that affect this deliberation?
I need a much bigger map. Easiest thing to do is go on something like Google Maps and measure circles.
I mean, you know, I would hate for the town to go through all this trouble and then preclude, you know, and then down the road, we want to develop White's Island, and now we have the same argument all over.
I hate to be a skeptic.
Pardon?
I hate to be a skeptic. I can safely say White's Island will not be redeveloped in my lifetime.
It's privately owned still, isn't it?
No, I think required it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no way to get to it. Remember that 88 compatible bridge? Well, the bridge is in a lot worse shape now, like it's not there.
It's not there.
And then there was the whole railroad says, no, we really aren't allowed to cross our tracks. So.
But you can vote to it.
You can vote to it.
Maybe you'll call it a place of assembly, and
Last time I survey work on it, that's how it.
So.
Even though the bridge was so passable, had my block. No. So no, that wouldn't work. Zoning wouldn't work. So you're gonna have just a. Then you have to be careful what you're saying, like, well, hunting in Powell Cove. Well, he was mentioning, okay, so I'm not in Powell Cove. I'm on the land up there hunting turkeys, shooting towards the cove. Down across towards the cove. That could be quite a bit inland still.
And you're gonna hear it.
Oh, you're gonna hear it? Of course, my rule is, I don't care where you live. You do not go outside and go for a walk without blaze orange or blaze yellow during hunting season. You just don't do that. That's asking for it, not asking for it, but it's unnecessary risk. Well, I always raise that crops, but my work clothes are either yellow or orange. And every few years I throw that dust away because it's gotten so dirty and I can't keep it clean. Get it on.
Also, I'd be concerned though, that I would be required to wear bright orange clothing to walk around my own neighborhood while people are shooting in that area.
I always wear orange in my neighborhood during hunting season.
In hunting season, no matter where you look, you should wear orange because you can't legislate lack of stupidity.
Well, that's one of my points. The shooting's going on very, very close to houses and where people are walking.
I agree with you. Can I make a suggestion that all three you show up at the next selectmen's meeting and bring it up again?
We have to, and we'll be there at the next one.
Because by then, Emily will report back to them what we discussed at our meeting, that we're looking for further direction, and you folks during the open talk period or whatever it's called can bring it up again. And that'll make them more aware of it.
And if we end up, that's almost, can't touch from that cold anyway, that there's not more than one or two landowners in there, I think. And those are big lots from top to hill. You could also run into the possibly the lot owner saying, heck no, I don't want my property zoned that way. I have one of those numbers.
Yeah.
The answer to that would be, I'll put up a sign that says, no trespassing, you can't walk on my land.
Just as an aside, you know, there are people in kayaks in Powell Cove as well.
Yeah.
Who are not hunting.
Right.
Whenever though you see those kayaks, at the same time, do you see very many geese?
I couldn't tell you that.
Because I'm thinking if you have traffic on the water, the geese are gonna go someplace else.
Yeah. I just can't help but wonder, you know, what would it hurt to have an ordinance? We have school districts, we have hospitals, and there are signs that indicate a lower speed limit so that no one gets hurt. That doesn't infringe on anyone's right necessarily to drive a car. Oh, I'm thinking, isn't there an analogy here?
Of course there is.
Yes.
And the other side come up with their own analogies. Argue that way. I mean, I'm one. We're a small town. This is our ordinance. The speed is ridiculous. And it hasn't gotten any better in a long time. In fact, there's a whole section going in there. I hate drawing up an ordinance that's, I don't know, using a sledgehammer to hit something that a tack hammer could handle.
No, we need more direction for.
Yeah, I think we do, because I don't know.
That's what it boils down.
Part of this is a political decision, and I want to make that. That's not my response here.
Right, and we can go back to the selectmen and at least let them know what the other towns are doing.
Yep.
I'm sure, go ahead, Mary.
I just have a quick question. What would be involved in rezoning Pottle Cove away from rural into village 102 or whatever? I mean, is that an option?
It's an option.
Okay.
It would go through again, there'd be a request for the zoning change and come through us, I would imagine, because one thing, that's a shoreline zone, there's a shoreline zone involved, which means it has to go on a public town-wide vote, and it has to have a public hearing before then. So there's a whole timeline of this must be done by this time in order to make it on this one. So, like, it might make it, I don't know, I'm sure that it's possible to make it on the number ballot, but not anything before than that.
It's an option.
Yep.
Yeah, unless we have special, because it's the deadline to get on the June ballot is March 27th.
I mean, you're going back and you were not wanting to necessarily wear bright colored clothing. I mean, as a driver, at night, you see what I probably have this problem. Our night vision is not as good as it used to be. I tell you, I hate a bicyclist wearing dark clothing after sunset. I don't like it during the day, but after sunset. I had more than one close call.
Sure.
That's because they're not hugging the side of the road that well either. Yes.
This is not meant to be a joke. This is an honest question.
Yeah.
I'm not a hunter. But you're talking about wearing orange for safe.
Right.
To get a hunting license, do you have to take a color blindness test? No, I'm serious.
No, no, it's
Orange is one of those colors.
No, actually, I don't believe the state's requirement is pure.
Right, so you're not safe.
I think red is still.
Can I speak personally? I'm colorblind.
Oh, okay.
I know what orange is. It may not look the same color to me, but I've been taught what orange is. I know what red is. I know what green is.
Okay.
So I may see it as a different color, but I have your label to the color.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Society has taught me that society calls that orange, and even though I see it as whatever, that's orange. You know, that's the title for that color.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I've known people who were colorblind and the green, red is.
And you know what? I managed to succeed in my being colorblind.
Yeah.
So
Is that why you're dressed the way you are?
yeah.
As far as I know, you get a hunting license. A Maine resident who's not convicted of a felony.
You still have to go through the hunter safety course.
I don't think you have to if you're over 21.
No, I thought you
Yes.
did.
Did they change it?
Safety
Yeah.
They
course.
changed it now?
You have to get a safety course. You
I
have to
have
pass
my hunting
the
license
safety
in
course.
Yeah, that was safety course.
50 years, so.
Because that question was asked at the meeting, and the inland fish and wildlife gentleman said that you do have to get a license, you have to pass the course.
I don't hunt either. I shoot, but I don't hunt. I haven't shot in years. So. I do know a hunter is responsible to know his target, what's behind his target, when he's allowed to shoot, when he's not allowed to shoot. And the vast majority of them are good.
Do we have anything else on our agenda tonight? No, I'm gonna make a motion that Emily goes to the selectmen with what we've spoken about, just to make it legal.
Try to summarize.
Would you second the motion?
I will second that.
Try to summarize what we're at. And
Yeah.
further direction.
That's my first of two motions.
Then your second?
Anybody? Oh, we got a vote on
We got a vote on that
Any further
motion.
discussion? All those in favor of Al's motion? Thank you.
My second and most favorite motion at 6:12 PM, I make a motion, we adjourn. I second.
All those in favor? We're done.
Go to the selectmen's meeting, push them, because they have to push us. We're just in stage one of a 10-stage process.
And thank you for your time. And Emily, thank you for doing this research.
Sure.
Planning board members, I'll see you at 7.
Okay.
Yes.